So this is GazNeon from AM Radio, and I have been fortunate enough to grab Isarnos. They've just come off stage and emptied their dressing room.
Hello.
Hello.
Hey, how you doing?
We have 7 members. They're all members this time because I did an interview earlier, and I was including driver, manager, all other shit as band because I didn't know who they were. So we've got this one right this time. So how did the set go?
Fantastic. Probably the best gig we've done this year. Best we've done for a long time. The crowd was amazing, a lot of fun. We weren't expecting that many people. Sort of in the afternoon, we just found one of the managers of the whole show, and he said the room was full. We could have people trying to get in.
I managed to squeeze in right at the back. Being fortunate and quite tall,
yeah.
You can actually
see everybody.
I was going to say, yeah, Fine and David and I, we're screwed. But we're not going to watch anyone now.
Yeah, nice.
Stand on the bar stools and tap dance.
It's quite a feeling.
What, being able to see other people?
Oh yeah. No.
Could you actually see anything? Because I was speaking to one of the photographers earlier, and he said the red light just obviously we're not good.
Yeah, I mean when you're on the stage, because it's a low ceiling and the lights are very, very bright. So if you sort of look sort of diagonally, sort of downwards, see what I mean? You can sort of see silhouettes of
front
people.
few rows are pretty clear.
Yeah.
Did you manage to catch the shield wall of death then when it
Oh yes,
we definitely saw that.
Excellent. I was very impressed with that. And, so you mentioned it's one of the best ones you've played this year.
Yes.
Has there been a lot? Because obviously there's been, I won't say turmoil within the band, but things have been changing in and out.
Well, yeah, I mean, we knew a few months was going to happen that our old violin player and Helga were going to leave. So the delay for recording the album was so that we could find new permanent members rather than getting session players. We didn't want studio player session players. So now we have Frida and David, who are fantastic both musically and as human beings. So I mean, we had like a deck violin player that we did Birmingham round 2. We played there last year as well. We did the shows with Grimner with her as well, yeah. And we headlined the Jorvik Viking Festival show as well up in York. That was fantastic. That was a great gig. Birmingham was a great gig. And then David's first show with us was Warhorns, which is the other big folk metal festival in the UK. So I mean, we've done some cracking shows, and I think now everything's sort of finally come together with us now as the 7 that we are. Obviously James, who's guesting for us today, is actually our original drummer. He played all of our 2016 shows. So he was back as Lucas, our current drummer, is unavailable this weekend. So now we're kind of all settled down and we're finally ready to start recording the album, I think.
So when you put the ad out in the old press, as it were, we need a hurdy-gurdy player, a violin player, and for a metal band. How did it come out as simply as that?
No. Yeah, it's quite a hard sell. There aren't that many violin players that listen to metal. I don't think, Frida, did you listen to any metal before joining the band?
No, but I do now.
There you go.
Do you actually enjoy it, or do you just do research?
No, some of that I do.
Some of it you do.
Some.
Well, nobody likes all metal music.
You sound quite a lot like my parents. Sorry.
To me all the time.
The next thing you're going to be saying, it's just a phrase.
Playing hurdy-gurdy in a metal band is just a phase that everyone should go through.
Because occasionally we needed to. I can't be more people than that, the better.
Yeah, it was kind of the same situation finding Frida as our original hurdy-gurdy player, which in the first instance involved having to explain what a hurdy-gurdy is to a keyboard player.
Right.
Frida plays violin and guitar and I think piano as well.
Yeah,
so.
and I've always wanted to play the hurdy-gurdy.
To be fair,
I got so excited when I saw the ad. I was like,
to be fair, you were the first person that came along.
She wasn't. Oh yeah. Frida was the first person that we played with. We had interest from a couple of other people, but there are obviously female vocal parts in the song, and it's not possible to do some of those parts.
High ones anymore?
Yeah, Nick can't do the high pitch anymore. John's finally reached maturity and can almost grow a beard.
Yeah, so the highs are just gone.
Yeah, so we had to make sure that we found someone with a good singing voice, because you can kind of teach someone to play an instrument like the hurdy-gurdy if they already play the accordion, if they already play the violin. It's the same dexterity on the left hand. But what you can't teach someone is how to have a good voice.
Yeah.
And Frida has a beautiful voice, so we're very lucky there.
As we have just heard.
And then David, I think, got in contact with Nick originally.
Yes.
Yeah. Interesting one. We stood outside Open Shield's dressing room.
No way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Look at
David
that.
actually recorded Violin for Open Shield's album. David.
Yeah, so I've always been into metal since I listened to music, and as a kind of classically trained classical musician, that puts me in quite a unique position because I have the training of a classical musician, but the interests in producing interesting sounding work that comes with being into sort of slightly more kind of radical genres like metal and other things as well. So when I was doing my undergrad, which was in violin performance at Leeds Music College, I worked with Ben Corkill of Oakenshield, and he got me to do all the violin parts of his album Legacy, which was great fun, and I really enjoyed doing that. And I kind of had this idea that from then on I would kind of try and focus on playing violin with the training and the technique of a fully trained classical musician in the world of metal, which I think is the kind of thing that's quite hard to sort of find in a very niche corner of the sort of, I guess, job market, I suppose, whatever it is. But then that didn't sort of end up happening for some reason. I'm not really sure. I kind of drifted out of metal for ages, and then literally this year I kind of drifted back into it. And as I did, I found this band.
Perfect timing.
And now I'm back in.
He's also, even on the violin, I hate to say it, a better shredder than any of us that play guitar.
Yes.
Goodness gracious.
It's quite cool actually, and what's going to be really exciting once we've recorded album number 1, which is completely written, ready to go, is start writing album number 2, because the amount of instruments that David, Frida and myself play between us, there's going to be all sorts of even weirder possibilities.
Yeah.
You started learning the melodian.
Did you start learning melodies?
That's adorable. They're tiny, aren't they?
They are, they're so cool.
Not as small as concertina.
No, I wanted to get a concertina just to say dinky in the middle. So there we go, we just have no idea what album 2 is going to sound like now.
But you've been sat on album 1 for a while, haven't you?
Yeah, so there's been delays with that, with, like I say, changing lineup and what have you, and there's, I wouldn't ever want to get a session player to record the album, it has to be your band. There are a lot of bands in inverted commas where it is sort of one person and then a bunch of session musicians. But we wanted people that were going to be interested in playing the music because they want to be in the band and they want to play together and they want to do shows together, and that more of like friends and friendship thing.
I'm sure you probably hear it in the playing as well, where it's somebody just playing by numbers as opposed to somebody who's,
I think,
actively part.
I think we're entirely like self-reliant in terms of we are independent.
Yeah.
And I think the old adage, you can do it cheap or you can do it right, comes into play as well.
Yeah.
We're going to do it, we've got to do it properly, and there's not...
We don't want to
rush it.
We can't rush it, and we don't want to do just like a little EP and that way I'll release a single. We want to get everything we want to record recorded the way we want to record it. And it's just, because we manage everything ourselves, so it's trying to handle all of the facility and what's like logistics side of things and organising that, and musicians are notoriously shit at that. So,
So speaking of logistics, obviously there's a fair number of you.
Yeah.
Have you bought an Isarnos van yet, or are we still?
We did have a van.
And it was lovely and blue.
Yeah.
We had a
What was the
public
name of it?
vote. We had a public vote to decide what.
We had a public vote, and we had to exclude the winning one. And I'm not sure if I can even say what the winning one was.
Of course, I'm sure you can. Can you say it?
Say what you want.
The one that won was Mein Kampf for van. And we just couldn't have
Well, to
that.
be fair, the close second wasn't much better.
The close second was what we ended up calling it, which is the fistery machine. So it's kind of, it's like Scooby-Doo but more pornographic. And he was lovely, and it took us to lots of shows. When we played Bloodstock in 2016, it took us to Warhorns Festival that took us to
Manifest?
took us to a load of shows, and then in September of last year the brakes failed and we had an accident. I had an accident. Luckily no one else was in the van. And from that from that it damaged the coolant on the engine, and everything. It was going to be too expensive to fix it. The running costs, insurance and everything, I just couldn't afford it. So
it was a very sad day.
It was a very, very sad day. So the official machine is in the car park of
with stock
in the sky. The NCP car park in the sky.
So you didn't give it an appropriate flaming send-off then?
Like a Viking funeral. Just drive it into a lake and then throw a petrol bomb on it and launch this thing.
I'd love to.
And
the council would not approve.
There's probably a canal near where you live that'll be full of all sorts of shit, so nobody would probably...
Trolley's fan.
Well, do you know, I actually live about 5-minute walk away from an area that's used for a military training ground, so I should have just asked them to do like a, 12-gun salute. But, just to shoot at the van and send it into the air.
Just hanging around outside the place like, you guys want to blow up the van?
That'd be nice. So, obviously, album's going to get sorted out. Is there any live stuff planned for next year, or is it all knuckled down?
We want to be quiet while we get the album sorted, because the problem is, again, with 7 people, you can do the album in bits, but you need like a whole weekend with the drums, then a whole weekend to do bass, etc. And to try and find the time to do that. But the problem is with when you do a lot of gigs, and we've done at least one a month this year, it's trying to get everyone together for rehearsals and arranging transport and logistics, and that takes out a whole weekend. So we do most of our gigs up north. So if we've got to drive up, it took me 5 hours to get here. It's going to be 5 hours drive back. That takes out the whole weekend to do a gig.
Yeah.
So
is that just because of the way you drive?
North London.
Yeah, it's easy.
It's like, woo.
It was quite smooth on the journey, surprisingly. We were thinking we were going to be a lot later, but nope.
No, we're very lucky. We want to make sure that we're focusing on getting the album done and doing it as well as we can. And then we've got a couple of shows we haven't announced yet. Will be towards the end of next year, and one of which will be our debut acoustic show. So we'll get to show that that we can do real folk music as well as acoustic folk music as well as the metal side.
So would there be any plans to record that then?
So you don't want to do the acoustic album number 2. That's sort of like album
No,
number 4.
it's like maybe
a live EP.
I think that's like
bonus
a
tracks.
fan club
MTV
type
Unplugged.
thing, or
MTV Unplugged.
BBC Unplugged.
Did you say MTV Unplugged?
Yes.
Alright, Granddad.
So we'll see.
Fucking monitor, BBC on telly.